On the night of the grand opening, the scene takes us straight into the kitchen of a five-star restaurant. The place is packed with motion. Staff rush in every direction, flames flick up from the stoves, pans collide, and every dish needs to leave the counter in perfect condition. Right in the middle of this controlled chaos stands Anna, the owner and head chef. She treats her work with absolute seriousness, and her obsessive discipline has made her one of the top 5 chefs in the entire country.
All right, how much longer until I have my veggies there? The beurre blanc is separated. And that quickly, like this. Yeah?
Yes.
Try.
Something her husband Ray never stops bragging about as he proudly waves around newspaper articles celebrating her success. But Anna has no time to enjoy any of that. While Ray delivers an emotional speech to the invited guests, she keeps her focus locked on the kitchen. Fame means nothing to her. In her eyes, the food should shine, not the chef. Ray keeps talking and even slips in a few jokes. But Anna eventually walks out mid-speech and heads straight back to the kitchen without a second thought. When she arrives, she finds a small fire that has already been put out.
What's happening?
Back to work, all of you!
Chef? Yes. Phone for you. Hello.
Even so, it confirms what she has long feared. Just 60 seconds without her, and everything nearly fell apart. Meanwhile, Ray is left standing in the middle of his half-finished speech, feeling a sting of embarrassment. He tries to smooth things over for the guests, hoping the night does not spiral into disaster. That hope is short-lived. The head waiter approaches with tense news. A group of people is demanding a table. The restaurant is full, but they insist on speaking to the person in charge. Ray steps out to the entrance and immediately recognizes who has arrived. Mick, an old acquaintance, or more accurately, an old problem. Their reunion is cold from the start. Mick says he came by after hearing how well Ray is doing and even brings a man named Matt to look at the restaurant. But they are not there to dine. They are there because Ray owes Mick a large amount of money and they expect repayment that night. Ray tries to calm the situation, explaining that this night is important for his wife and promising to meet them the next day to settle everything. Mick pretends to consider it, then agrees, but not without a quiet threat. He reminds Ray that the restaurant is beautiful and it would be a shame if he ever had to burn it down. Something he will happily do if Ray fails to keep his word. After Mick leaves, the grand opening finally settles back into a normal rhythm. The guests finish their meals, leave with happy faces, and Anna feels the night has gone almost exactly the way she hoped.
And, yeah, thank you, guys. Вот и водка. Спасибо.
Let's drink!
На здоровье.
Oh, you're gonna see something, Lollipop.
Later on, Ray counts the evening's earnings with the staff and enjoys the moment of success. He waits for Anna so they can go home together, but she is already deep in her creative zone, eager to test a new recipe. Before she continues her experiment, she asks her assistant, Becky, to walk Ray to the car for safety. Ray and Becky step into the parking area without expecting trouble, but Mick is already there waiting. To him, the next day has arrived because the clock has passed 12. He sees those 2 minutes past midnight as a brand new day and demands his payment immediately. Ray tries to explain that he meant tomorrow during normal hours, not just after midnight, but Mick is not interested in the finer details. He wants the debt paid right then and there. The tension rises and Becky, realizing how dangerous the situation has become, tries to slip away quietly. Her attempt ends in tragedy when Matt pulls out a gun and shoots her on the spot.
Yeah, all right, Mickey, whatever you say.
What are they talking about?
Nothing. They're talking about nothing. They're just talking.
It is a brutal warning. If Ray refuses to pay, the same fate awaits his family and every employee at the restaurant. Panicking, Ray admits that he does not have the money. At this point, Mick has lost all patience. He chooses the simplest solution. He orders his men to burn the restaurant down. One of them, a little too enthusiastic, carries a container of gasoline inside and starts splashing it everywhere. He notices that one of the stoves is still on, but ignores it. The lights cut out. Before he can react, Anna steps out of the darkness and knocks him out with a frying pan. And this is where the truth finally comes out. Anna was once an agent of the KGB, the real-world security agency from the Soviet era in Russia. Her cooking skills are impressive, but they are nothing compared to what she was trained to do. As the chaos ignites around her, only one thing becomes clear. This is high heat. Years ago, she abandoned that world to chase her true passion, cooking. After taking down Matt and the others, hiding their bodies in the freezer, Anna grabs a phone and calls Ray. Instead of hearing his voice, she hears Mick. He tells her Ray is with him. Mick is shocked when Anna casually tells him he will need to find new men because she has just killed his latest recruits. While Mick is distracted on the call, Ray manages to escape and runs back to the restaurant. Once he reaches Anna, he finally admits everything he has been hiding. Years ago, he and Mick were business partners, but Ray never knew when to stop. He gambled, he failed, and Mick had to sell nearly everything he owned to cover the losses. Instead of showing gratitude, Ray did what he does best. He ran. Now Mick has come to collect, and he is willing to take payment in cash or in blood. Anna heads to the walk-in freezer as if she is grabbing ingredients, but instead of spices, she pulls out a machine gun. At the same time, Anna finally admits her past as a KGB agent to Ray. Instead of focusing on the threat of arson and the criminals outside, Ray chooses the worst moment to complain about her keeping this secret from him. Anna brushes it off and forces him to explain everything he knows about Mick and his organization. Outside the restaurant, Mick realizes the situation is slipping out of his control. He calls his boss, a man named Dom. The conversation goes badly. Dom is furious to learn that Mick has failed to collect the debt and has also lost 2 of his men. A few minutes later, Dom arrives at the parking lot with a group of armed enforcers. He contacts Ray and gives him an ultimatum. Step outside and negotiate or die where he stands. Ray steps out and tries to talk his way out of the mess. But Dom is not interested in excuses. From his point of view, Ray has only 2 options: pay or die. Dom's men surround the restaurant and prepare to storm the building, unaware that Anna is already inside waiting with her weapon. Dom notices the complete silence coming from inside. That silence tells him everything. His men have failed and Anna is still alive. Anna, however, knows she cannot take on all of them alone. So she makes a call. She reaches out to Mimi, an old KGB colleague she has not spoken to in years. Mimi reacts with unexpected enthusiasm. She and her husband, Thomas, who is also a former KGB agent, agree to help immediately. They even consider bringing their twin daughters so the kids can join their first family mission as early training. Meanwhile, Mick and his remaining crew try to think of a new plan. Their best idea is a simple Molotov cocktail, straightforward and destructive. The execution is awful. One of Mick's men throws it wrong and ends up setting himself on fire. A sad sight that only reminds Mick that Anna is no ordinary woman. With no time to mourn his incompetent crew, Mick orders the rest to go inside. Gary, the newest member, looks terrified but has no choice but to follow orders. As he steps inside, Anna emerges from the darkness, takes out one of Mick's men, then turns toward Gary. Frozen in fear, Gary chooses the most logical option he has. He begs for mercy. In his panic, he spills a crucial secret. Ray has handed over the restaurant's ownership papers to Dom. The plan is to burn the restaurant, collect the insurance money, and settle the debt. The betrayal hits Anna hard, but she has no time to sit with her feelings. At the same moment, she realizes why the police never showed up. Dom has stationed his men around the area disguised as construction workers. Their job is to block access and divert anyone who tries to approach. The strategy works well, at least until Mimi arrives. When Mimi is stopped by the disguised guards, her old instincts kick in immediately. She can tell these people have nothing to do with construction, and when one of them lets his guard down, she easily takes him out.
Oh, dear.
You can loop back around. Oh.
Meanwhile, Thomas climbs up the building next door with way too much enthusiasm, mostly because he wants to test out his new rifle. Within seconds, he spots Gary walking out of the restaurant alive, something none of them expected. To confirm whether Anna actually spared him, Mimi sends her twin daughters to give Gary a good scare. Once Gary is rattled enough, Mimi steps in and interrogates him. True to his cowardly nature, he spills everything in a panic. He even reveals the exact location where Dom is hiding. At the same time, Dom gathers his crew and decides to give Ray one final chance to avoid a bloodbath. If Ray can convince Anna to surrender and let the restaurant burn, Then everyone can walk away, collect the insurance money, and start fresh far from Dom's reach. Ray heads back inside to talk to Anna. She is not interested in the slightest. He keeps pushing, apologizing, and finally admitting his own dark past, even though it was nowhere near as extreme as hers. The problem is that his past has now caught up with both of them. Ray never wanted anyone to get hurt, but things have gone too far. For Anna's sake, he is ready to die protecting the restaurant that means so much to her. Without hesitation, he refuses Dom's offer and chooses to fight beside her.
I had no idea.
I've got a couple of ideas.
I bet you do.
A few minutes later, Dom's elite team arrives, led by a woman named Rona. These are not ordinary thugs. They are trained professionals armed with full gear. After receiving payment, they enter the restaurant and immediately sense something is wrong. The power is out, water covers the floor, and before they can process any of it, one of them is killed by a surge of electricity. Water and electricity are a terrible combination, and Anna uses the chaos in her favor. A microwave explodes in the kitchen, creating the distraction she needs. She breaks cover, opens fire, and the fight spreads into the bar area where bullets fly nonstop. Ray tries to help by providing cover, but luck is not on his side. A bullet hits his leg and he collapses. He and Anna lock eyes as they run out of ammunition with nowhere left to escape. Anna could leave and survive, but abandoning Ray is not in her nature. Just when everything seems lost, a storm of gunfire shatters the restaurant windows and tears through the mercenaries one by one. Mimi and her twin daughters step into the restaurant and clear out the remaining enemies with almost no effort. Anna and Ray survive the attack, but the air between them is not as warm as expected. Anna thanks Mimi, but the look on Mimi's face makes it clear that something from the past is still unfinished. Mimi finally brings it up. Years ago, during a mission, Anna disappeared without warning and left her behind. It turns out Mimi has not completely forgiven that moment. Before Ray can even stand up straight, Mimi launches at Anna, and a fight breaks out between two of the best agents the KGB ever produced. They move with incredible speed and precision. The fight is brutal, perfectly matched, and neither one holds back. In the end, Mimi manages to overpower Anna and aims her weapon at her head. She could end everything right there. But instead, she chooses something far more amusing, a demand for free dinner every week for the rest of her life. Anna, still in pain, accepts the condition without a fight. And just like that, the tension drops and the two women return to being friends. A few minutes later, one of Dom's wounded mercenaries limps out of the restaurant and makes his way toward Dom. Nearly collapsing, he looks like Rona coming to give a report. Dom is completely fooled, right up until the figure lifts his head and reveals it is actually Ray in disguise. He has come to finish the man who tried to kill his wife. With a single shot, Dom is taken down. At the same time, Mick makes a final attempt to run for his life. But Anna is already waiting for him outside. She is not the kind of person who leaves a problem unresolved. Without hesitation, she eliminates Mick and ends the chase for good. When everything is over, Anna and Ray head back into what is left of their restaurant. The place is full of bullet holes and broken debris, but it is still theirs. They raise a glass together and celebrate surviving their first night of business, even if it ended in total destruction. So the moral of the story is, if your wife is secretly a retired KGB agent, maybe do not gamble away her restaurant money or borrow cash from psychos unless you enjoy getting smacked by frying pans and nearly exploding microwaves.